When you see the
Uh-huh.
recording, it'll just say Kareem Muhammad's personal Zoom room or meeting room. Uh,
Okay.
but after that, when I fix it, it'll be have the name of the episode.
Okay.
Alrighty, I think we are okay. We are now streaming, recording, and we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Kareem Talks. If you all were wondering where I've been, it's because Savior's Day was last month, so I had to take a hiatus for the God. But we're back. Today is Sunday. I just finished catching up on all of my wrestling, but we're not here for that. We are here because my guest, my esteemed guest, all the way from the best borough, as she likes to call it, Brooklyn, New York. You all
Mhm.
give it up for the one, the only Queen Naajia Muhammad.
Crazy to Allah. Assalamualaikum, everybody. So excited.
Welcome to the show. How are you? How are you?
I'm fine. I'm a little nervous, but I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm well. Glad to have you on the show.
I'm
You know,
glad
you've
to be
had, you've had a very busy schedule, being on the NOI Youth Council, doing the NOI Youth Retreat, having a successful retreat.
crazy to Allah.
Praise
Yes.
be to Allah. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself. Don't go into too much detail if you don't want to, but give them like a little taste, a little taste.
Well, my name is Naajia. I am from, as you said, the best borough, Brooklyn, New York. I'm 18 years old. I sing and I love Beyonce. Yes, I'm also a Pisces. So there you go. Oh, and fun fact, I found out a fun fact about myself that I've known for years, but I said that I'm gonna say it as my fun fact. I like learning about sharks. I'm scared of them, but I like learning about them. It's very interesting. They're so fascinating. Yes.
Sharks.
Yes, sharks.
Alrighty. The
Right?
more you know. So our topic today that we will be discussing, ladies and gentlemen, is self-care. Self-care. And before we begin, Naajia, what made you want to choose this topic specifically out of all the things? A lot of people, I was getting a lot of things from messages from some people, and they were telling me, "Oh, she's probably gonna talk about Beyonce." I was just like, "You all don't
I
know her.
can't.
You all don't know her like that." Yes,
I'm
she
deeper
does,
than
but there's levels. So
right.
let's get into it. What made you want to choose this topic?
Well, first it's well, self-love, self-care, self-love, and self-reflection.
Hmm.
And I chose that because I would say like during Ramadan last year,
Hmm.
I was in a space and I didn't realize how like I wasn't in a really good mental space and I didn't realize that at the time until until Ramadan started. And I'm fasting, I'm doing what I got to do, get it in there, get in that spiritual mode, etc.
Hmm.
And I realized that I was not really taking care of myself the way I should have been. And with
Hmm.
self-care comes self-love. You have to love yourself because if you don't love yourself, you can't care for yourself. And with self-love comes self-reflection. You have to be able to, go through what you've been through and the stuff that you've done, not only to yourself, but to other people and how your relationships are. And you have to be able to reflect and do better for yourself. So I chose that one day. I knew I was going to do something about self-care. I knew that for a fact. But one day I was literally washing dishes and I was like, self-care, self-love, and self-reflection. Boom, that's it. And I wrote it down. And when you asked me, I was like, yes, that's what I'm going to do.
Mm. Mm. So this is coming from very personal experience.
Yeah.
And so you're doing this for anyone else that may have went through that, and this will help them to start learning. Because if you don't start with self, this is what we're taught, you
Mm-hmm.
can't help others if you can't help yourself first.
Exactly.
Right. So starting off with that, And this is just a very broad. Where does self-care start? Where should self-care start first? You know, there's different levels. There's physical, there's mental, there's financial, there's so many. Where should it start first, in your opinion?
I would say loving yourself first, because you have to love yourself. You have to be able to be comfortable with yourself. One thing about me, I have 3 siblings. I'm the oldest. I'm
Mhm.
Caribbean. I'm from New York. Noise, I'm used to noise. You know what I'm saying? So that
Mhm.
was okay. But I wasn't used to being in silence alone. And I didn't know why. Like, people be like, do you like to be silent? Or like, not on no disrespectful stuff, but they was like, do you like quiet, and can you be alone with yourself? And I
Mm.
maybe like 12, 13. And I was like, honestly, no, like, I don't like silence. I don't like it. Even now, like, I like silence. I can be alone with my thoughts, but I had to get to that level. And I felt like, well, I don't feel like, I know for a fact at that time when I was asked that, I had a lot of stuff that I had to
Mhm.
think through. Like, you have to be able to sit down with yourself and think about situations. Just think. You have to be able to hear your thoughts. And when you pray, it has to be silent. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like you have to get to that level. Sometimes people, like me, I like noise. I like talking and stuff like that. But you have to be able to sit down with yourself, sit down with your thoughts and think. And that's very important. And that's something, again, I was not used to doing that. And so that, self-care starts with self-love, being able to reflect and the things that you've been through, stuff like that. So.
Mm. Mm. Okay, so it starts well, it starts here and here first. So
Mhm.
it's a mental thing.
Yes.
So what are some good examples of self-love and self-care?
Well, if you like whatever you like to do, my way of self-care is watching The Office and eating dry mango. That is how I care for myself. When I'm stressed out, I'm like, I need some dry mango and I want to watch The Office. That's how I relax. Another way I sing, as I said before, I write songs. That's how I let out my emotions. Also, don't
Mm.
be afraid to let your emotions out. I feel
Mm.
like, especially in the Black community, I know, like, with the type of female I am, I'm very, y'all know me, I'm from Brooklyn. If I have something to say, I'm gonna say it, like that. But
Thanks.
yeah, period. You have to. Oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. Oh
No, no,
wow.
no, you got it. You got it. Just
I lost my
give yourself a moment. Give yourself a
You
moment.
have
You
to be
got
able to
it.
express yourself. Don't like feel like you're being held back or whatever. And yeah, that's what I was saying. With males and females, females should be able to express themselves and not be like, oh, like you're doing the most or whatever. And males should be able to express themselves. Whatever you feel comfortable doing, do that. That's fine. So yeah,
Mm.
mhm.
Mm.
whatever
Um.
whatever you enjoy doing, that's your form of self care. Yes, there you go. There's the answer.
Mm. Should people, and I'm glad you said male and female, because I do know a lot of people that have trouble expressing themselves fully. I was like that at one point,
Mm-hmm,
for a while. Um, would you say there's levels to learning how to care for yourself, or it's just straight up, just start caring for yourself, period? Are there levels you have to get to start establishing that self-care and self-love for yourself?
there's definitely levels to it. I feel like well, for me, so first of all, there's this thing that's going around, like 5 love languages and stuff like that.
Mhm.
That's important. Like, a lot of people just think like, oh, it's just like love languages. It's not that, or I'm not in a relationship. So first of all, you have to be able to love yourself before you can love somebody else.
Facts.
First and foremost. So when you like, my love language is words of affirmation. I like hearing things. So when I look in the mirror, I'll be like, you are awesome. You will do this. You will get this done. That's something that works for me. That has helped me love myself more than I, already have, by the grace of Allah. That helps me with my confidence. That helps me with just that reminding myself. I give myself little notes. Like, well, I know during Savings Day, I was like stressed because, we had to do the treat that nerves were high. I wrote myself a little note and I put it as my home screen. That helped me out. Find out what your love language is, how you would want somebody to love you, love yourself in that manner. You have to, because if you don't know how to love yourself, nobody can love you, period. And there's definitely levels to it. It takes time. I know journaling helps me. It helps me also with reflection, but I'm able to see like what I like, what I don't like, just with writing down. And I know some people say like, oh, I don't know what to write, so I don't journal. And it's like, just write down, start with how your day went. Because one of my friends, she said, shout out to Amira, she said to journal every single day. I was already journaling, but I would journal when things went wrong. I wasn't journaling. And that's also a mistake that we make with prayer. We just pray when things aren't going right. No, we got to pray all the time. And journaling helps with that as well. And one thing, when I journal, I open up in prayer before I journal.
Wow.
So a lot, like this is me and Allah. The world, this is where he's helping me. We're speaking to each other. And so I write down how my day went, even if I just went to the store. There's a lot of stuff that could have happened when I went to the store and I not have realized. I could have seen something and not have noticed it. I'm writing down like how I went and oh, by the way, I saw this somebody that did da da da. You know what I'm saying? And later on, you're like, oh shoot, that happened because Allah was sending me a sign and da da da. There's so much stuff that goes into journaling. And also I try to close out when I'm done. But journaling is very, very, very powerful. And again, there's levels to self-care. It doesn't just come like smack dab in your face. I'm best at self-care. Cool. No, it took me, as I said, Ramadan last year. It took me some time to get to where I am now. And it's still, I'm not like at like the best, like highest point. Like I will say that by the grace of Allah, my confidence is very high. And I do love myself very, very, very much. And I do care for myself, but I'm not perfect. There's some times where I know that, like I have an essay that I have to do. I am not procrastinating, but you know, when I get into,
you don't want to stress. You self-care right now.
Right, exactly.
And when I'm done, I'm gonna get to the essay. It's gonna get
right, exactly. I feel like also, let me just say, I feel like we also need to know that yes, self-care is self-care, you know, but when we have things to get done, sometimes the best self-care is to get it done. Yes, you might
not be thinking about it again.
Right, exactly. Like when you get stressed out and you're like, oh, I can't, because I know I do this. If I have something to get done, sometimes, and I don't want to do it, my body will be like, I'm not doing this. And it's like, Naajia, okay, we have to get this done. Come on, let's get this done. I have to push myself. And then at the end, I feel good. I was able to accomplish that. That helps as well. Being able to step out your comfort zone and do different things, like that's a form of self-care as well, putting yourself out there. You can't stay in a little box. And that's advice to me as well, because I'm a very traditional person. If I've never done it before, 98% of the time, I'm probably not going to do it ever. And it's like I have to get used to doing stuff. People will ask me, can you do this? And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I don't want to, but I'll do it. Like, especially with the mosque, like speaking in front of people. I don't mind speaking in front of you, but as you can see, I like stuff like in order. So if order and you're asking me to speak in front of people, you know, just right now, I'm a vanguard. So you can imagine how many times this has happened to me. Oh, you got to do this right now. Hurry up. Let's go. And it's like, oh, I'm not prepared. But you know, you go off a wing and a prayer. You have to be able to keep yourself out of you can't stay in one box, you know?
Yeah. That's good. That's good. What would you say to those who are always giving to other people? You know, the type, you know, they're giving their time to help this person, to help that person, to help grandma, mom, dad, the dog. But they're not taking time out to help themselves. What would you say to them if they are watching this right now?
I would say everybody does not say yes to you, so don't say yes to everybody. That's just that. Because you ask some people to do stuff, and it may not be ill intent. Sometimes you ask people to do stuff, they just can't get it done for you. They know their priorities, and you need to know yours. You can't do everything for everybody. That's just a matter of fact. And that's something that I definitely had to learn. Not that particular example, but I like to, well, actually similar. Yeah, I like to help people. And some people don't want to get help. That's just a fact. They want to be where they are and they want to stay there. And that would hurt me. I'm like, why don't you want me to help you? I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you move forward. And they wouldn't want that. And it's like Allah had to be like, girl, leave, do what you got to do. What do you need to get done? And I had to keep staying in that mode. So yeah, stop. Everybody's not going to say yes to you. So don't say yes to everybody, period. That's it.
Wow. Gotta write that quote on a shirt. Everybody's not gonna say yes to you, so don't say yes to them.
There you go.
Hmm. I gotta start living by that more. Can't do that to my lieutenant though.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
Can't
That's
do that to my lieutenant.
no.
Um, would you say you had when in your journey in discovering how to care for self and love
Mm.
yourself, was it just you alone on this journey, or did you have friends helping you on this journey? Um, was it just well, you never solo dolo, it's you and Allah. But was it you and Allah, or was it you I think she's having some technical. You good? You
I'm
all right?
good. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Would you say it was you and Allah on your journey to discovering how to learn how to care for yourself and love yourself, or was it you, Allah, and a couple of your besties?
Um,
Mhm,
First and foremost, me and Allah, period.
mhm,
And I feel like as he blessed me to have some people come into my life and come out of my life
mhm,
to deal with that. Yeah, I know like some of my friends would be like, this is something that one particular person, Sion, she would be like, Naajia, you need what about this and and stuff. Is like nobody has ever said this to me before, like what's going on? But like sometimes people are sent a lot sends people or puts people in your life for you to learn more, because I will say with me and Sion being friends, like I've definitely been exposed to more, like what I'm saying, like I'm like,
mhm,
okay, so everybody's not like this, because every people who know me, like I'm I'm from New York. So my group of people, we all have, of course, our individual like personalities and stuff, but for the most part, we act the same. So getting friends outside of the nation and realizing like, oh, y'all don't act like this. Okay. It was a little weird for me. I told you, I'm very traditional. So for me, that was traditional. So people acting a certain way. It's like, okay, what's going on here? And it may not be a issue that's with them. Some people may be like, a little more sensitive, or
mhm.
you can't say this to certain people, and that I feel like that also goes into proper handling the people. There you go. But
Wow. Praise be to Allah. It's always good to have friends on the journey, but if you do have to go, well, like I said, you're never truly alone as long as you got God who came in the person of Master Father Muhammad. You can't lose. You can't lose. Oh, this is a good one. Um, what would how would you respond? No, I'm not gonna ask like that. How would you deal with people who judge you by how you self-care?
I'm gonna be straight up with you. I don't care. That's it. And it's easy. Well, for me, I
Mm,
don't care, so I don't care. I'm from New York, so if I say I don't care,
that's it.
not that's it. I don't care. But I know for some people it's easier said than done.
Mm,
You have to be confident in yourself. Stop letting people come into your sanctuary and your, everybody, because everybody's not gonna like what you do. That's just a matter of fact, regardless if they're hating or they just simply are not used to it. They're not gonna like what you do, and you have to just learn how to move forward. Just be like, okay, I'm not about to sit here and like, how you getting mad at me for the way I care for myself? That's not weird. Like, you can't do that. So, just don't care. Leave them alone. Be confident in yourself. Remind yourself. Look in the mirror and be like, listen, whatever people got to say about you, let it go. Do this the way that you care for yourself. And I feel like also, I mean, if you want to tell people how you care for yourself, that's fine. But caring for yourself can be a between you and Allah thing. It doesn't have to be, everybody doesn't need to know how you care for yourself. Period.
doesn't need to be explained. Just know I'm caring for myself.
Right.
You're caring for yourself in the best way that you
Period.
know how.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got a problem with it, kick rocks.
Right. Like,
I like that. I like that. As long as it doesn't conflict with your religion,
of course, yes.
gotta have to put that out there. God forbid, be like, I know how I'm gonna self-care tonight. No,
Right. Like,
sir. No,
oh, that's
ma'am. No, sir. That's not the way. That's not the way. Um, mm, ooh, that's a lot. It's a lot. You already spilled so much wisdom. We're 18 minutes in. We're not even a full hour. Did you ever have trouble? Like, what were the struggles in getting to where you are now? What were the struggles you had to deal with personally, getting to where you are now in terms of your self care?
I would say, well, I don't know if I could.
Say it as best as you can. I don't
Yeah.
want you to ever get, if you don't want to, if you want to spill your guts, that's fine. But if you want to hold back, you want to omit some things, that is fine too.
I know that I personally am not one to give second chances to people.
Mm.
I'm not one to do that. So when I am willing to give someone a second chance and they don't use it wisely, that messes me up. And I
Mm.
did that one time. I was like, okay, I'll give this person a second chance. And, it went downhill. Instead of
Squandered.
that messed me up. So I feel like just keeping toxicity in your life, it holds you back. And that's something that held me back, that's after Ramadan. That I was big on I'm not doing this, and I don't give people second chances, as I said. So when I'm, allowing you back into my life, or regardless, like a friendship or stuff like that, like I don't like that. I don't do that. So that was one way that held me back, and I would definitely advise everybody second chances. I personally wouldn't advise it unless you truly know that whatever it is has developed.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes for literally anything, friendships, like anything, because I can name sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So,
and that's very fair. But of course, you have to gauge it on their level of maturity, their understanding, their growth. But if it's the same old, get them out the game, coach. I feel that. I feel that very strongly. All praise is due to Allah. You are just eating these questions up. Eating these questions up. You really going through them, man. This is a Kareem talks first. I would think it people, they draw out the questions out, but you just
because I'm trying,
going through them.
like practicing. I'm like, okay, like how are we gonna get this down?
You already, she said she already got it ready.
Right.
If possible, now like I said, you have to go too personal. Could you get offer an experience that you had to go through in order to develop your self growth, like post Ramadan or something during Ramadan? Like I said, it doesn't have to be too personal. That helped you to level up in your self care.
Realizing my worth, because I feel like we always be like, especially as women, that you're like, you have to know your worth, and the minister says that. Yes, the minister says this, but you have to also within yourself, you have to actually know your worth. And when you don't, you allow things to happen, and you allow for people to treat you a certain way, and you do not deserve to be treated like that at all. So that was my thing. I felt like I knew my worth. I feel like I wasn't confident in that, and I had to also know what I brought to the table as well. And that's just with anything. And also I would advise writing it down, because when you're able to see it, it's like, oh shoot, like this is what I'm doing, this is what I got going on. Like, okay, because that's what I had to do. I had to write down, like I was like, okay, like, because one of my friends, Sion, I was talking about something, and she was like, Naajia, like you are mad, like what are you talking about? Like I was kind of like talking bad about myself. I'm also talking about that. I was also like I was talking bad about myself, and she was like what are you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? And she was like, bro, you do this, you do that. And I'm like, oh shoot, you're right. So I wrote that down. I'm like, I do this and I do that. Like that helped me. I had to know my worth, because I would allow certain things, and it's like, why are you allowing that? You shouldn't even let that in your area. Like, you know what I'm saying? And talking bad about yourself, that goes into self-care and self-love. Do not talk bad about yourself. Don't read things that talk bad about you, or I don't even read tweets that are talking about, because like your subconscious doesn't know the difference. And I'm very big on that. If you talking about yourself, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I don't care if it's, oh
Right.
my God, like, I spilled coffee on the table. I'm so dumb. We don't do that over here. You're not dumb.
Mhm.
Made a mistake. That's fine. Move forward. Keep it, like, leave it at that. I don't take that. I don't like that. When tweets, I see people beating themselves up on Twitter, I scroll past it. I don't even read it. Like, I don't even know. I'm very big on, I don't like that.
Mm. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I can, like I said, it took me a long time to get to where I am now. I know one thing in my journey of learning self-care, I had to learn how to come out and just learn how to, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said last weekend, be myself. And it
Mm-hmm.
took a long time because I'd always thought, and sometimes it still creeps up on me. I always thought that if I were to be 100% myself, I know 100% of people are not going to vibe with this self that I'm currently being.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to learn how to, in your words, not care about them, doing it for me
Mm-hmm.
because it makes me feel good as long as it doesn't conflict with my religion, of course.
Right.
But I had to come out of myself, and it's the greatest I've ever felt. And then it also shows you who truly does support your growth
Mm-hmm.
and you wanting to self-care because real people, they'll be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they won't judge you and you won't judge them for how you self-care. So
That's
it's very,
exactly.
the real
That's
ones will be there for you.
that's very important because I feel like people always feel like, oh, I can't like 100% be myself. First of all, if people don't like you, again, it can get like, and I'm gonna keep it like a buck.
Mm-hmm.
It gets it can get like lonely you being yourself 100%, and you people don't like that. It can get lonely. Like well, I can't really say famous people because I can't say if they're being themselves. I can't use that example. But
Mm-hmm.
there are people who are 100% themselves and they have haters, and people are not a fan of that. And it takes time to build your confidence. And there's somebody that's out there that's looking at you and like, wow, like I really admire them. They do this and da 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 da. Like, come on. There's people out there like that. So, yeah.
Mm, it's very true. Um, but we can't mix them up to the, after being yourself, certain people start getting
Right.
attracted around you. And then you know who the real ones are. They've been with you since day one. They know who you are. But
Mm-hmm.
then when you start being yourself and then you popping, that's when all the bandwagoners start
Right.
coming around you. How does that play into self-care? How do you dealing with bandwagoners get into self-care? And this is the last question before we go to commercial.
First of all, you have to know the characteristics of those types of people. That's
Mm,
number one. I feel like if you haven't dealt with it or you haven't seen other people deal with it, you're not gonna know. Because
mm,
you would think like, oh, okay, like I've never seen this person before, or I've seen them before. They've changed and they've grown and developed, and it's like all of a sudden, okay, listen, okay, that's fine. How are they acting to you? They're only nice to you in public. When you call them in private, now it's, oh, I'm busy, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to know the characteristics of that stuff. And always, again, as you said, keep in mind the people that were riding with you from the beginning.
mm.
Because those are the people that's going to stay there. The people that correct you, be like, why are you acting like that? Like, you was not acting like that before. What's going on with you? Like, those type of people, those are the people that care about you and that love you deeply, for real.
Mm. That is beautiful. We don't like the bandwagons on here. Real
Yeah.
ones and day ones only.
Only, period.
Unless they leave this way of life, then it's like,
Yeah, that is like, okay. Yikes.
yeah, we trying to make it to the wheel. We trying to make
Okay,
it to the wheel.
seriously.
Period.
Like,
Period.
mm-mm.
But this was wonderful. We're gonna go to a brief commercial break, and we will be right back. And I will be unhooded. Gonna share this screen real quick. good morning, good afternoon, and or good evening. Peace, ashe, and assalamu alaikum. This is Brother Kareem of Kareem Talks. You know, that wonderful podcast you're listening to? But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about aretheywoke.com, a website that was built by my uncle to house conscious clothing as well as conscious branded merch, such as How to Eat to Live, and 1,000 facts about the Negro. But let's get back to this wonderful looking clothing that allows you to define who you are. We have things for the men, we have things for the women, we have things for the children, and it's all conscious oriented merch. So I'm telling you, as someone who owns a hoodie, and it's a comfortable hoodie by the way, go to aretheywoke.com. Ladies, get you a queen shirt. Brothers, come get you some of this merch. Because I'm telling you, it's conscious oriented, it's comfortable, and you're going to love it. Peace. Peace. This is Kareem from Kareem Talks, and I'm here to tell you about Miller's Make Supply Co., a black-owned business that specializes in beard oil for men and facial toner for women. As you can see, they have various different scented oils, guaranteed to smell absolutely wonderful and do wonders for your beard and for the women for your skin. And these are actual ratings. It's been said to be the most hydrating toner and the best toner that the ladies have ever used. And as you can see, that brother is happy with his beard oil. So go to millersmake.com, check out some oil. Beard oil for the men, like I said, in various different flavors, if you will. And for the ladies, facial toner that smells absolutely wonderful. Get you some today and support a black-owned business. Peace.
Hi, my name is Raiden Scott.
My name is Yasmin.
It's Ramari X. Allen. Go to the Homeschooling Society.
Go to the Homeschooling Society.
I attend the Homeschool Society.
Greetings. My name is Sabbath Muhammad, founder, owner, and CEO of the Homeschooler Society, LLC. Here at the Homeschooler Society, we pride ourselves in bringing full and complete understanding to all of our students. Our method is simple, not moving on until the child fully understands. I do what I do as an educator because I remember when I was in elementary school, middle school, and high school. I remember teachers and educators not showing as much care and patience as they could. This widespread way of teaching drives me to do what I do.
Okay.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, for those of you who would like to have a commercial shown on the Kareem Talks podcast, visit the Kareem Talks podcast on IG. We have 4 available purchases you can make to have your commercial on. And yeah, also buy my merch.
Okay.
Brother's trying to eat. But back to the topic at hand. I was thinking while during the commercial break, and we were talking about bandwagoners. How have you? Well, you said you didn't care, but have you had a specific circumstance where there was someone consistently, basically trying to keep you from caring for yourself, and they didn't really have their best interest for you at all?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think so.
That's good.
I really don't think so. I can't think of anybody that. Oh, I'm lying to you. So I was bullied in middle school. There you go. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that is so crazy. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I was bullied in middle school, and I went to an Arab school, and I was like the only Black girl there. So that dealing with that was a lot. I was when I was, by the grace of Allah, I was always a very confident child. Like I was always, speaking my mind, and was when I was like, you did this to my friend. What are you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? I was always want to stick up for others. In middle school, I was the only person. First of all, I was the only Black girl in my class. So there was that. And then I was the only Black girl. And when people learned that I could sing, they wanted to use me for singing, like just to sing for them and like do like different events that they would hold and stuff like that. But they wouldn't really like talk to me like after that. And I'm like, what is going on? And I tried my hardest to try to fit in. And it was like, okay, like this is not working. In 8th grade, it sounds like, well, it doesn't sound crazy. It doesn't. I got this leather jacket that my cousin gave me. And I felt like I was the hottest stuff ever. Like I had this leather jacket on. Nobody was telling me nothing. I was like, I don't care. Then I found Beyonce, and I listened to Beyonce when I was younger. So I've always listened to her music. I've always sung her songs. But for me I was finally able to understand her music somewhat in 8th grade, and her music. That was when this was like 2015 going into 2016. And that's when Formation dropped. Nobody was telling me nothing. Okay. Nobody was telling me nothing. I was like, I don't care what you have to say. There's that. That's cool. Great. And I finally got my confidence back. And my friends even noticed that I was a little off. But we were so young. And I feel like there's so many things that could have happened that we didn't know really how to communicate with each other. Like, are you okay? And it's like, yeah, I'm fine now. Like, and at the time I was fine when I was with them. I didn't realize when I was alone, I was not really, okay. And as I said, I in the recent years had to learn how to be okay with myself. And I mean, not okay with myself. I had to be alone with myself and with my thoughts. And I was not at that age. So there's that. I completely forgot about that. That's so interesting. Thank you.
We have past traumatic things that have happened to us. We usually, when things start we usually block those things.
Yeah.
I can relate to that. You mentioned Beyonce. I knew that was going to happen. Does she play a big part in your self-care routine, or?
A big part, I would say at one time she definitely did, as I said, in 8th grade, definitely helped me because she's a Black woman in a very male dominated field, especially white male dominated field. So yeah, right. So with that helped me when I was in that predicament. I do listen to her when I want to feel, like hot stuff. I'm like, okay, let me put some Beyonce on. That is true. Heavy though, no. I feel like you can only really, you and Allah can figure that out. She does somewhat of a part, but it's not very, big. I love Beyonce, but when it comes to my self-care, my self-love, she's not involved.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah. You mentioned Ramadan near the beginning. How did participating in Ramadan, for those of us who are getting ready to participate in the fast next month, how did participating in the fast help you to gain ways on how to self-care and self-love for yourself?
Well, okay, so first, praying 5 times or striving to pray 5 times. I'm big on praying. Anybody that knows me, I would say anybody that's close to me, I'm huge on prayer. I don't play about that. I pray for any and everything. I don't care if I always give this example. If I can't find my nail polish, I'm like, Allah, let me open up. I don't care.
Real.
I'm asking Allah, like, can you help me? I don't care. So that I'm very big on prayer, and that definitely I was always big on prayer because of a situation that had happened, and I felt like I was kind of alone, and I wasn't going to Allah. I was going to everybody but Him, and everybody could not help me with what I was going through. Nobody was helping me. I'm like, they were trying, but it's like it's not working. And I had to turn to Allah, of course. So after that situation, I was like, okay, I'm not ever gonna fall into that again, ever. So after that, I've been always like trying to pray all the time. Not trying to, I pray all the time. I'm always like doing something, you know what I'm saying? But with Ramadan, praying 5 times a day and reading the Quran, first of all, that alone, I started this thing where like every morning I would like strive to listen to a part of the Quran. Like I'll pick a random number and I'll move forward with that. And I'll put in my ears, start with like my morning routine, whatever I do. But just so, because Allah works in like a very interesting way. You could be going through something or you could be about something's gonna happen that day, and you listen to that part later on in the day, you like, oh my God, it's fine. I'm not about to trip. You don't want to know why? Because the law said da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? So that's one way that helped me. During Ramadan, was reading, and fasting. When you're fasting, that just like cleans you. And it's not just with your body, it's mentally, emotionally. Because during Ramadan, you're not even supposed to listen to inappropriate music. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just stuff like that. And you're really supposed to be on your best behavior. And when you're on your best behavior, you're, tapping into your highest self. So that when you're able to see like, oh, shoot, like I could be like this. I want to be like this all the time, period. So that is how that helped me.
Ramadan definitely does play a big role. It almost feels like a spiritual reset.
Yeah.
And you go in, you break those old habits, you gain new habits that are positive, and you do end up coming out a better person. Plus, all that weight gone. Praise be to Allah. Would you say, as far as your friends, did you ever help them out with them learning how to care for themselves, or was it just a journey that you all went through together? And would you say you all are still learning from it, or you all have gotten the hang of it, basically?
I mean, there's times that you slip up, that's normal. But with my friends, I'd always be like, okay, what are you doing? Stop talking to yourself like that. Da-da-da. Like, if one thing I love about my friends is we're very much like, oh, now you slacking, bro. Let me help you out. So it's like you doing, okay, what's going on with you? You've been a little off. Okay, something happened, your feelings is hurt. All right, I got you. Come on, let's go. Like we're very, very much care for each other, and wherever we slack, we help each other out. So it's kind of like always like, I got you. Come here. You got me. Let's go. We're always learning and we're always growing together. So
that's good. Growth, mutual growth.
Yes.
That's that sisterhood. That is the sisterhood. Praise be to Allah. All praises be to Allah. Wow, we have only 18 minutes left. What would you say has been the biggest lesson you've gotten out of learning how to care for yourself and love yourself?
The biggest lesson
in your journey, because I know it's not 100% where you want it to be, but where would you say is the biggest lesson so far that you've gotten out of it?
Don't beat yourself up because you're not at your highest, like where you could be. Just work to that. So instead of beating yourself up, just be like, it's fine. You're not there, and you can't just jump there right now. We have to work to that. So let's keep working. Like, just keep striving. So that's something. I would say that's my biggest lesson, because I would get upset when I wasn't at a certain level. I'm like, I'm not here. What's going on? Like, or I would not be there, and I would be like, well, that's it. I'm not there, and I'm not going to get there. It's like, you can get there. You need to work to that, and that's fine. So yeah, that was my biggest lesson, I feel like.
I can definitely relate to that. I've had an experience recently where, I'm a husband now.
Yes, congratulations.
Now, praise be to Allah. Yes. And I'm always trying to put my best foot forward and be, the best, along with being the best version of me I can be, and the best husband to my wife. And I sometimes I struggle because I can't do such and such for her, this and that. And praise be to Allah, she's there to console me, tell me all the things, to remind me of all the good things that I've done. But it's hard for me to remind myself because it's a responsibility. You don't want to mess up, and it's like when she's not yours and you have a responsibility to take care of her, and you're not where you want to be, it weighs heavily on you. So hearing you speak on, even though you're not where you want to be yet, look at what you've been able to accomplish by Allah's grace and mercy, and just keep going and you'll get there. So those were definite words that I needed to hear. So
praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. What would you say? And I think this will be. I want this to be the most impactful one. What would you say was the biggest sacrifice that you had to make in learning to care for yourself? Biggest sacrifice.
I would say losing somebody that like I loved, because it's like you can love somebody but they can still bring you toxic energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, this is not like for me. So I would say that was my biggest sacrifice. That's the only thing I can really think of. But like that was something that greatly impacted me. So here I am.
It was one of those things that you knew, like you cared like deeply, but you knew Allah was telling you, this ain't it. You got to get rid of that, or you're never going to get to where you need to be. Was it easy to let go of that?
I would say it got easier by the time like I started the journey, because by the time I started my journey, it was kind of like that this is not working for you. You're being brought down, it. So I feel like by the time I started, it was a lot easier. I was like, you know what? All right, whatever. I'm done. And I was done. Like, so that was I would have to say, yeah.
Praise be to Allah. That's good. What are any final words you would say to anyone who's been listening in and they've been having trouble loving themselves or giving themselves self-care? What would you say to them as we get ready to wrap this up?
First, I would say, it sounds corny, but go to like find out what your love languages is. 5 love languages, like primary, like basic love languages. Find out what that is, and whatever it is, love yourself in that. 1. 2, figure out how, like, if you had like when you get married, and if you don't want to get married, I would recommend it personally, but I would recommend it.
God met us in pairs.
Like, right, exactly. So, yeah. If how would you want your husband or your wife to love you and love yourself in that way? I would say that. Yes. Other than that, care for yourself, and to care for yourself, find out things that you like to do. And when you're stressed out, do those things. Or not even when you're not stressed out. Even when you're just like, you know what? I love myself, so I'm going to do this for myself. You like Chipotle? Order you some Chipotle.
Treat yourself.
Right, exactly. You like Beyonce because you should like Beyonce. Listen to some Beyonce. Do something to help you feel good and feel happy by following our laws. Thank you. Yes.
By laws. Don't y'all be doing nothing illegal just because we're telling you to care for yourself.
Right.
As long as it does not conflict with your religion.
Period.
Hard on that last part.
Thanks.
I don't want anyone to ever come back to this and say, oh, they was advocating self-care.
Right.
This is what they meant. No, we were not doing that. No, y'all heard us clearly say.
Right.
But this has been a very therapeutic experience for me. I was actually looking forward to this episode heavily. So as I'm listening, as I'm thinking of questions, I didn't have these questions written down. I wanted to ask what would come from my mind from someone who has been on that journey and is still on that journey himself. So I wanted to answer those questions like that. So I'm a sponge, literally absorbing all of this. So it isn't just for the viewers; it's for me too.
I
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to say thank you for having me. Last time I was here, I think it was like 2018. I think it was 2018. I'm not sure, but it was a few years back. And to see how you've like grown, not only as an individual, but like in what you're doing now, because Kareem Talks is now live on YouTube. Like, come on, we was IG live back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So that's big by the grace of Allah. So congratulations to that. You're married now. Period. Yes, praise to Allah. And
Got the chain. She gave me this.
Oh,
I keep it around my neck the whole time.
that is
Never
so
comes
cute.
off.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on, with your extravagantly busy schedule. But any final words you want to say besides, that you any final words you want to say regarding yourself and what youth council? What else you got going on? You plan on starting a black business soon? Any black business your friends have? Any of that? We got 10 minutes. We got 10 minutes.
I would just tell everybody to love yourself, be confident in yourself, and treat yourself like you are at your highest all the time. Even if you're not, still treat yourself like you are. Because when you get there, you'll know how to treat yourself and how to handle. Stay humble. That's very important. Pray, wash your face, drink water. Right, yeah, that's all I would say. Shout out to my friends. Shout out to Lala, Ami, Josh, Amir, Sion, Amira, NYC Vanguard, everybody. Shout out to y'all. I love you so much. And yeah, there's that. And shout out New York City, number 717. Thank you.
Praise be to Allah. All praise is due to Allah. This has been very therapeutic, a very insightful, and very powerful episode of Kareem Talks. Ladies and gentlemen, tune in next week. I actually forgot my guest for next week, but I know it's 3 black men with black businesses. So you're going to want to tune into that. I'm going to get their names. I'm going to remember them. Don't worry. But tune in next week. They're going to tell you all how they started their black business and how you can get started, So this has been another episode of Kareem Talks. This has been the shortest one, not by much, but the shortest one of this season so far. But I loved it regardless. Peace and blessings. I'm Kareem. That's Naajia. See you next week. Peace. See ya.